Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCI platform. My name is Liam Gartland, and for those of you who are new to the platform today, I'm the founder and producer of the Grad Fest. And for more information about that, you can visit www.thegradfest.co.uk. We currently have a musical, The Garden Theatre, which is Next Thing You Know, which runs until Saturday. We also have our spectacular cabaret on Friday night. So if you would like to come along to any of them, check out our website and you will get the ticket link. But we have a wonderful Q&A this afternoon with Simon Mayhew, who's an agent at Collective Agents. So welcome, Simon. Hello.
Hi. Just how are you? I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. How's things? How's life treating you at the moment?
How's life treating? We had a bit of a chat before, didn't we? It's interesting. Where do I look at the camera as well? I'm looking at the garden, at you.
Yeah, I look everywhere. I'm like,
no, it's interesting. I'm okay. I think because I was a performer before, I feel like I've got quite a thick skin.
Yeah.
In terms of like life. Yeah, I'm okay. It's been an interesting year. I think the dynamic of how the industry is changing, and shows getting put on and then cancelled, and it's taken its toll on me. Because obviously, agents, we have the emotional baggage of all of our clients. So if imagine one client struggling, times that by your whole list, it can get a lot. It can get a bit intense. But I'm okay. I put a tweet out the other day, actually, just sort of saying, at the moment, I feel like everybody, agent, producer, casting director, anybody, just needs to do what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want, I've seen I think Lindsay Haitley was on This Morning yesterday with Philip Schofield. I think she was an Amazon delivery driver. And it's like, we should be supporting this. Yeah. I think the way things were pre-COVID, I mean, everything has changed. Everything has changed, and the makeup of the industry has changed forever. So even if, even when shows come back up in February and March time, it's not going to be normal straight away. Agencies have all had their shift. The agency dynamics all changed. Assistants have been let go. It's just a real change. So it's taking me a little time to sort of get my head around all of that. I'm okay at the moment. I've got another little focus that I launched yesterday, which has actually been really cute.
Yes, I saw that on Twitter yesterday. Yeah, it looks good. I think that's the thing as well about this whole kind of scenario. I think, it's about also supporting people's little, side hustles and things that are that also keep people busy, but also kind of bringing them in an income to support the actual craft.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the biggest shock with the the agency's turnover when everything was compared to now. I mean, I've lost 95% of my income. So, and I'm not a kind of a person that I'm not very good at doing nothing. I can't just sit around watching. Yeah, it's just not how I am. So I've created this little thing, even just to get me up in the morning and focused for the next couple of months, just until it all gets back. So that's really, if for anyone who is struggling out there, find something, a little project for you. That's my biggest sort of tip, because the Soup of Love thing that I've done, it's given me a real reason to get up every day, and I'm in my little garden office, so I've still got my computer here, so I'm still doing all my agency work as normal. So that's a very long answer to your how are you, but
well, you're doing okay. You're doing okay.
I'm okay. It's an experience.
Fab. And for everyone watching right now, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can comment on any questions that you have, and then we can answer them throughout the video. So if you do have any questions about anything to do with, approaching an agent, being an agent, if you really wanted, anything you've got, we will answer all the questions throughout. But to start, I guess, tell us where you started and how you kind of got to where you are now, with Collective, because it's, from kind of an outsider's point of view, even just knowing you at Oxford Adams, it's been quite a journey through that. Yeah.
I mean, how early do you want me to start? 4 years old, 5?
Well, I guess kind of how you said you was a performer, and how you kind of switch from that being that performer? What kind of made you make that switch?
So I trained as a dancer primarily. Left dance college in 2006, so a little while ago. God. And then, you know, I did well. I've lived the life, trust me, of every single client that I have. I've been in Harrods, I've been in the call center, I've been, oh God, front of house, promo, I've been in some sort of costume giving out, you know, I've done the performer's life. And then I was on tour in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in 2010, so 10 years ago. And my dad passed away. And at that moment, it's that typical thing of performers moaning when they're in a job and then moaning when they're out of a job. No one seems to be very happy as a performer. Everyone's sort of moaning when they're in the show as well. And I was like, surely that can't be normal. I'm just sort of like constantly, oh, I've got a show tonight. I just made, when my dad passed away, it just made me rethink things and how much what I wanted for my life. I don't really like children, so teaching was sort of out of the question. I couldn't really choreograph. I got way too stressed, and you weren't too perfect. I just couldn't do that. So the obvious choice for me, because I am quite a strong personality, I'm very opinionated, and I know the industry and I know technique and I know musicals. The right, you know, sort of the next step for me was agenting. So I did a internship for 3 months. I am a bit of an exception to the rule. I did cheat a little bit. I sort of went straight from interning just to having my own agency. There was probably a little bit naive for me at the start. But I set up the agency in 2013. So I was kind of one of the first agencies for a long time that sort of popped up. And I held an open audition, which there wasn't really, and still aren't many auditions for an agency. So I think I got quite a lot of traction at the start. But obviously people now, God, they spend years as an assistant, then they spend years, you know, being a junior agent, and then you might be able to have your own clients. So I really did cheat the system a little bit and just sort of set it up and went hell for leather. Oxford Adams became something that I never imagined it would be. Like, it just became this big, huge thing, and we had clients everywhere and profile clients, and it was amazing. And then sort of as the years are progressing, I just sort of felt that there are so many agencies around now. There was just so many. I was like, how am I different to everyone else? Like, what could I do? How could I be different? So back in January, so I spoke with a few different agents and just sort of, we talked about the idea of coming together and the benefits of coming together. And then COVID happened, and we were already talking about it with different agencies. And then we goes, right, guys, let's do it. So we got together, spoke to Bo from Bones and Reeve, John Rogerson from the Soundcheck agency. We've got a voiceover agency involved called Dan.
Oh, and I think we have lost Simon. I'm just going to remove him from the stream. And we will pick this back up in a second, and I will be back. So please hold tight, and we will be back. Fabulous, and we're back. Hello.
Are we back?
Yes, we're back.
Fine.
Yes.
Where did you cut off? Do you remember?
It was the voiceover agency.
Yes, so the voiceover agency. One of my clients has got green cards, so we work a lot with a manager called Rochelle and an agent on Broadway in LA. And then John works closely with an agent in Australia. So we've sort of approached those different agencies, and we came together and made collective. And I have to say, it's really saved me emotionally, mentally, everything. Just having the support of the other agents there. Because before, it was just me. It was just all on my shoulders. I had 3 employees. So having collective then and having the boys there it's been amazing for me. And we have generated just so much more work coming together. We hear about things quicker because John's got a lot of creatives. You know, if I was working on a project cast director asked me, do I have any Northern Irish actors on my list for a TV project that my client was called in? I said, I don't, but let me just ask everyone else. So I asked everyone else, and they had 2 people. So then I suggested those clients. And that wouldn't have happened. That conversation wouldn't have happened had we not been Collective.
Yeah.
So it's been so many positives with Collective, and and that's, excuse the pun, but collectively, like, we've got so many clients going into things. For example, like with all of us now, we've got 3 clients going into the Jamie opening in town soon. We've got 4 clients doing the Everyone's Talking About Jamie movie. So coming together, it just creates more unity. Yeah.
Well, fabulous. And kind of, I guess that the whole start of that, and you jumping from doing your 3-month internship to just setting up your own agency, kind of says a lot about kind of just the willpower to be like, I know what I want, and I'm going to do it. And I guess that kind of shows now when Collective came about, and now it's what it is, because you've just gone, let's just do it, and it's it's, you just have to take the risk, and hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, you just got to make it work. You just got to make it work. I'm not very one of my personality traits, which I'm quite bad with. I'm not very good at just settling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always looking for something new I can be doing, which is why Collective happened so quickly, and how it happened, so well, is because once I commit to something, I will go hell for it. And that's kind of how I age it with my clients. Well, once I sign that person, I will do everything I can to get them a job.
Yeah.
So I am quite like that.
Yeah, completely. So kind of moving on to like the first bit, I guess, is about kind of graduates and coming into the industry from drama schools. Like, what is your kind of advice for if we're in very weird times at the moment, but in normal times, and now what we're in very uncertain times. So now, coming from this that we're in, what kind of is your advice, or what do you think you can say to people about what is going to happen and getting representation from being a drama school student now?
I think if you have representation as a graduate this year, I've taken on a few graduates, and they've been, actually, to be fair, they've been amazing. I sort of mentioned it to you, I think, and I just want to make it really clear as well. This is just how I feel. I don't speak for every agent, because every agent does think slightly differently on certain things, but it's just my opinion. I feel that the graduates just need to trust their agent 100% in these times. I was saying to you before, where it's just a little bit tricky is our elite clients, our most experienced clients, are now available to go in for auditions. So from a business perspective, when it comes to submissions and who you're going to naturally grab the ones that have got or a bigger seat. That's a delicate yes.
We'll just wait for Simon to reconnect back. Give me 1 second. So we're just going to wait for the connection. But if you do have any questions about kind of whether you're a graduate or whether you're somebody already in the industry, or whether you're someone who's still at drama school, and you have any questions about kind of approaching an agent, or anything about the industry that you want to know, then please do ask the questions. And especially now, while we're on a pause, it will give us time to answer them when Simon gets back on. But yes, and for those of you who don't know, the Grad Fest is a company that supports graduates throughout graduating from drama school and into the industry, and we're giving opportunities through everything that we do. So you can find us on social media at the Grad Fest, on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And we have so many opportunities. We have a lot more things coming up throughout November and December. So if you are a graduate, please do get in touch, as we'd love to support you. And we've started to get a lot of exciting connections, and we are, very excited to be able to support people through this current climate and in the future too. But yes, so if you do have any questions about anything, then please ask them on this stream. But also, if you want to contact us and check us out, then you can do. We have a musical that's running until Saturday, which is Next Thing You Know at the Garden Theatre. And we also have our Spooktacular Cabaret, which is happening on Friday at the Garden Theatre. Both tickets are on sale still. So you can get them if you visit the website, which is www.thegradfest.co.uk. And you can also see who's in the cast and who will be performing. But yes, apart from that, we have a lot more opportunities coming up. So please do look out for everything that we have. And once Simon's back onto the stream, I will come back on and carry on the Q&A. Hello, and we are back. It's either the bad weather. It must be the bad weather. Must be the bad weather.
I just changed rooms. I was like, oh my god, there's no internet in this room. Oh god, that was stressful. Okay, all good.
All is good. So we actually have just had a question come through whilst I was chatting away, which is, obviously it's a tough time for everyone at the moment, and there's not much in the way of work available, especially stage work. What would be the best way to approach an agent at the moment?
In all honesty, I would just make sure that your show reel is stellar.
Okay.
It has to be sensational. So really just make, if that because it's unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely to get picked up at the moment. We're having loads of people writing to us at the moment, and you know, it's a stretch because our clients are free. So it just takes a little bit of time. So my advice at the moment is just to sort of don't panic if you're not getting picked up. Nothing's really happening. So I would just work on your show reel. Just make sure, maybe do some new material, make sure your headshots are up to date. Just work on your show reel, make sure it gets some feedback on it. Send it to some friends, maybe send it to some old tutors. I'm sure if you even reach out to some actors online, they'll probably watch it and give you some feedback. Just make that amazing, because then you've only really got one shot. When you do your emails out to the agents, that's your sort of one shot, isn't it, to get noticed? So I would just spend time working on that. otherwise, just breathe, stay inspired. You just got to hold tight and get to next year. I think with Christmas looming and maybe another lockdown happening, and it's not the right, I don't think it's the right time to be looking for an agent, to be writing off. Again, that doesn't mean that you won't get signed. There are some agents that might take you on, but from what I'm hearing and things I'm, involved with, it's just tricky.
And kind of going on from that, what kind of, when you're writing into an agent, you're giving that kind of cover letter on an email and things like that. What is kind of your advice? Because, you could go in with a full paragraphed email, big essay, but what is it that kind of would stand out and make you look like the person it needs?
For me, I always say when you write off to agents, we know why you're writing in. So we don't need a huge essay. Any agent that's got time to read these long emails isn't very good, because they've got too much time on their hands to be reading these huge emails. So, I would always say, hi, my name is Simon. I've just graduated from, below 3 links, if you're musical theatre, hit below 3 links, a dance reel, then do a little Vimeo clip, or maybe like a YouTube unlisted, singing, an acting clip. If you've been in a show, or there's something worth talking about, you're in a show at the moment, you're in a West End show tour, or you've just finished one, highlight that straight away in the top line. That's literally it. People try and get you don't need to, again, in my opinion, you don't need to get all of that out. The point of your email is, does your talent and your CV speak to me? When I interview you, that's when I'll get your personality and get all of like your life story and what you did last week and what workshops you've done and But in the email, it's just a waste of time. All you're doing is making agents work harder by writing these long emails. So just keep it really, really short. The one thing I would say as well, a bit of advice, is if an agent asks you for something, for example, if they say to you, hi Liam, I haven't heard your sort of top tenor notes in your reel, like, can you quickly do something for me? My advice would be, don't go to sleep until you've done it, because so many people lose momentum with agent conversations. They think they can just take weeks to get it back, and by then I've forgotten who Liam is.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep the momentum up. That with technology, there is literally no reason for you not to be able to record something before you go to sleep. Even if you're working in a bar, do it when you get home. Have a coffee, do what you need to do. I think people just leave it too long. They leave it way too long. And also it shows me that you're quick, that you can learn quick, you can self-tape quick, because commercials are so quick. Mm-hmm. So that demonstrates, even when some clients sort of take 2 or 3 days to reply to an email sometimes from me, I'm like, God, I hope you're lucky it wasn't a commercial or it wasn't a TV casting, because they're quick. And then that seed plants into the agent's head, like, are you going to be quick if you get a commercial? Is it a waste of time me submitting you? So it all boils down to the first email, like how quick you can be.
And I also think that kind of is, I feel like everything's moved a lot quicker now, kind of everything you get through now, because people are just wanting to quick shove it on while we've got a chance before something gets in the way. And I think that is probably how it may be for quite a long time, because planning in advance at this moment in time is just pointless. So a lot of things seem to just be like, quick, do it. It needs to be done by tomorrow, do you know what I mean, or tonight, and that I think that
we have noticed that a lot. There was a message on the PMA recently about the speed at which casting directors are wanting things back at the moment, and they're wanting back things unsociable hours, so out of office hours, weekends, and agents are humans, and we do have lives as well. We're not like sworn to the agent league and we have to give our whole lives up for it. It's still a job. So we still want those boundaries of when we can have time out with our families and our partners. And but no, there has definitely been a push on getting it quick. And I think it's just because no one knows what is going to happen next week. So people are trying to get it done quickly, and it's just a balance. Yeah.
Fab. This is off Joanna. I am currently seeking representation. I am based in the UK and Nordic origin. Would you advise to reach out to any UK agents, or would it be better to get an agent that specialised in Scandi actors?
I don't know any agents specifically represent Scandi actors. I think the first question you've got to ask yourself is, I mean, depending on your accent and depending on what you are, you've got to look at how much work there is for Scandinavian actors here. With the accent, it's just all going to boil down to your accent and how well you can do RP and American. Again, you can reach out to UK agents, but again, it's a funny time. That I know there is work in Scandinavia. Yeah, I hope that helps.
I mean, and this is a thing. I guess it's about kind of seeing getting all the strings to your bow, I guess, and offering that. And would you advise that somebody who may have be Scandi who writes to you would kind of explain that in the email, and that's is that something that you kind of see as another string to the bow? And
yeah, because some commercials or some TV film projects, they specifically say they want Scandinavian actors. So that's always good to highlight. If you're not from England, definitely put that in your email. Because obviously we've got the whole Brexit thing coming, so that's going to take a little bit of a turn. Like, what's your visa situation going to be? But definitely always put any selling points that you might have. It's also going to have just a massive effect on if you're more musical theatre, if you're TV and film.
Yeah,
that's going to have a bit of an impact on what you are.
I'm currently in my third year at drama school and currently rehearsing for a third year show. As you said, it's a hard time to reach out to agents. What can us third years be doing to help us get seen?
Oh God. Oh God. Well, first of all, Megan, I know that the agents are going to do everything they can to get to drama schools. I know some drama schools have started sending invites out already. And I don't know the answer to your question, to be honest. It's just you've just got to accept that it's going to be a bit of a longer road for you, for the graduates. It's just going to be a little bit longer to get going. So you just got to trust that it will get better and it will come back. The industry will come back. We cannot live like this forever. No one will let it. So it will come back. At the moment, all you can do is make sure that for your third year show, you just got to make sure that you are the best person. You've got to make sure that you just put everything into that showcase. So whatever agents do come and see you're going to grab them. If you get to choose your piece, make sure it's really, really memorable. Just stand out. Then I would say maybe like spring next year. I think everyone needs to let this year sort of go by now, because it's just nothing's really else is happening. Spring next year, make sure your show reel is perfect, get some feedback from tutors, and then just start writing out. But it is going to be, I think if you are expecting to get an agent really quickly and start working and you might find it more of a struggle. But if you just accept that, we are all in it together, and it is going to take longer for the grads to sort of get moving, eventually you will get picked up. You've just got to just get into that headspace of just holding on tight and just keeping focused and just staying inspired and going to see shows when you can. but there's no real advice of how third years can get seen more. Yeah, I hope that helps.
And kind of moving on from that, you know, it's very daunting, I guess, being in third year and wanting representation because you've worked 3 years for it, and now we're in this time. But, you know, there's so many agents out there. What kind of is your advice about, you know, those who may get interest from some people who then, you know, they could just take the offer because it's an offer and it might not be the right fit?
I think you've got to work out why it's the wrong fit for you. If it's the wrong fit because you just wanted another agent, then you've got to kind of assess where you're at. You're someone new starting into the industry. I think it depends on how many meetings you have as well. If you have a lot, I mean, I meet people sometimes that have 20 meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even at the start, you're just like, oh God, 20 meetings. Okay, well, let's have a chat. You know, and there are so many good agents out there, like my circle of friends. So if it's just sort of splitting hairs really and who you prefer. If you only get 1 meeting or 2 meetings and you don't like any of them, I think I've seen in the past that should you accept representation from an agent, is it better to be repped by somebody that you don't really like or just go in it by yourself? I do think it is better being represented. But I think if you accept representation, you have to really give everything to that agent that you can without having that thing in your mind, oh, I wish I was with someone else, because I think that's quite dangerous, because then the agent will start to pick up on it because you're not really invested. And you've also got to remember from an agent's point of view that they are essentially working for free for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to, if you don't want to be with that agent, don't go with the agent, because it's just, you've got to ask yourself, would you like to work for free for somebody who doesn't really want to be with you?
Yeah,
so putting you in that mindset from an agent side, just morally as well. If you don't want to be with that agent, don't go there. Was that kind of the question?
Yeah, and I think that's something that people forget as well, is that, you know, your agent only gets paid when they get the commission from you getting a job.
Yeah.
You know, and because as a performer, you kind of forget that sometimes, and you just go to these auditions, and, you know, if you're not feeling the best or whatever, and then, you know, I've started to realize, especially now in this time, that agents are literally working for free.
Literally full time.
Yeah, working full time for free. And that is something I think that a lot of actors need to keep kind of showing the support for, because you get an audition through and, you know, it might be a Sunday night and in for the Monday morning, and you think, oh God, I just wanted a glass of wine. But, you know, if you have a job, you know, that's paying for not only yourself but your agent as well.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of, I mean, none of my clients have said it to me. I don't think I would dare, actually, to be honest, but I'm hearing a lot of things in the industry of, like, actors asking for their agents to take less commission if the show they've accepted is maybe a little bit less pay. But obviously, if you're getting paid less, then we're earning less as well. So I think to ask agents to take even less commission, I think it's just so immoral with agents with children and mortgages. It's just horrific. And also, like, for example, right now, I'm not afraid to say it, I am essentially spending my life savings to keep the agency open.
Mm-hmm.
So I think actors just forget. They forget that. And to be fair, when I was with my agent, I didn't really see that side. I did not understand the other side at all about business, how it actually works. So I just hope actors are just being nice to their agents. And if I hear, and again, none of mine have said it, but I do hear about my agents getting upset when clients emailing in going, you know, I got the job myself, so do I have to pay commission? And they just so quickly forget that you've just worked 6 months for them. So I just think it's for no money.
Or, you know, or you may have not worked for 6 months, but you might have had 25 auditions which you didn't get. So like that work that's going into them is paying them back.
Yeah, I think it's well, but I hear a lot of things, you know, when we have that conversation with people, they go, oh, but my agent doesn't even reply to my emails, or they don't even. If that starts happening, then that's something a little bit different. You know, if they're not actually physically, you can't speak to them, then that's a different entity. But, you know, I always reply to my clients, and it's just tough. I think we've completely gone off your question, but.
That's okay. We do have another question. Okay. My boyfriend is Ukrainian and would need a work visa to work over in the UK as a dancer. Can he even apply to agencies when things do get better, or is that a huge put off?
If you don't have a visa, do not write to agencies, because there's just no point. You can't work here. Yeah,
that's the answer. Yeah. Because it's like any job, isn't it?
You need a visa, and on a lot of the breakdowns, it does say, you know, you need the right to work in the UK. So yeah, you need a visa.
Fab. I've been looking to become an agent's assistant, but haven't had much luck yet. Any advice on how to make a CV, cover letter stand out? What experience is required, and what do you look for?
I saw a job yesterday with Conway Van Gelder. They are looking for an intern. So go onto their, or is it an assistant? Intern or assistant. If you go onto their Twitter feed, they're actually looking for somebody. So I would definitely go and apply to them. With your advice on CV and cover letter, again, just don't make it too long. Just do the highlights, sort of like why you want to be an agent. Why do you want to go down the agent road? Tell them that you're quick. Tell them that you can multitask. You know, do you have those sets of skills? I don't really require any experience, but I remember when I looked for an agent about 3 years ago, I think I told you earlier, I sort of skipped the whole assisting road and just went to be straight away. So when it came to actually starting to interview people, it was really interesting, the different people, because obviously you only know how you would interview. But I was interviewing some people and I was thinking, God, do you want this job? You know, like, do you want to, I remember saying in an interview once, you might have to go and see shows 3 or 4 times a week. You might have to go and see showcases, and their face was sort of like, oh, but when do I see my boyfriend? You're like, no, this is it. You've got to literally give everything you have got to become an agent. It's about contacts, who you know. It's about, you know, people. So my advice to you in the cover letter is to say you're willing to go to whenever you want to give your life to it, and just sort of and learn and grow. That's my advice.
And moving on from that, kind of the agent thing. And what's your advice for performers who want to transition into agenting?
Okay, so my first advice: you can't still perform. It doesn't. I believe, this is just me, it doesn't work, because you could be whisked away in a show and then you've just trained all that for nothing. So you've got to make that cut. Funnily enough, a performer friend messaged me yesterday saying they want to maybe intern for 3 or 4 months and then be an assistant, but they've got a show starting next September. And it's like, well, who would employ you? An agency, for me, if I was going to take on an assistant, I would want the hope of them working up to becoming their own agent, looking after clients, etc. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. That's the hard decision. It's you know, training all that time to perform and then going, actually, I don't want to perform anymore.
You've got to make that decision to go, right, I'm not auditioning anymore. the second I set up the agency, I left my agent. So the last audition I walked out of and said, I'm done. I left my agent straight away, but I made a clean cut before I did anything else. I think it's also a little bit dangerous as well if you're still performing or you have an agent while you're working in an agency, because you start hearing about things, and some actors, they don't quite understand the dynamic and the game of the whole thing. So they might start emailing their agent going, you know, did you put me in for this, because they might see all these opportunities, and they might not understand why they're not getting called in. So it just opens up a can of worms. So I just feel like it's better to make the sort of clean slate and
make that call.
Yeah,
fabulous. If anyone does have any more questions, then please let us know. But kind of on to that point of another kind of question is leaving an agent, whether that's to go to a different one or whether that's to do something else completely. It's a weird thing to leave an agency. I feel like it's a very I don't know, I feel like it's a bit of a kind of worms that you're like, it's for the performer, I guess it's a big thought process that you go through when really the agent never knows about it until you have that first discussion. So what's kind of your advice for approaching that whole situation?
Oh God. I mean, I'm coming at it from a completely different perspective, because, oh God.
What do you hope for when somebody, you know, if somebody was leaving your agency?
If I was going to just put everyone in the same box, because my emotional attachment to them are going to be very different. Like, some have been with me now for 8 years. So my emotional attachment, if they wanted to leave, I would hope they would call me, because we've had that it is like a relative. I've represented my clients longer than I've been with my fiance of 6 years. So I would expect at least a phone call. Imagine getting done with an email or a text. But if you wanted to leave, everyone's within the right. When clients have left me in the past, and I've taken it badly, because it happens to every single agent. People leave all the time, and I've learned to accept it, because I remember I always say to myself, when I was in 5 years in, I left my agent for, it's so funny looking back, for actually no reason. There was no reason. I just had this agent in mind that all of my classmates are with when I was at college, who I looked up to, who approached me. But my agent at the time was amazing. And looking back, I shouldn't have moved. I should have just stayed with my amazing agent. But you don't see that. You get blinded by the lights.
Yeah.
I would just be really courteous and say, look, thank you so much for everything you've done. I'm going to leave. I mean, it's case by case, because it depends on the emotional connection for the agent. If you think you've got a long-standing relationship with your agent, then I would always call and have that. Was that your question?
Yeah. Kind of just how to be, you know, the most respectful to an agent, and you know, they've worked so hard for you individually. Do you know what I mean? And I think, but as a performer, it can be a scary thing, the thought of ever having.
The actor needs to remember, you're not the first person to leave that agency. People do leave, and I always sort of say it's a circle of life. Again, you have to judge on your relationship with your agent. So you need to sort of gauge that. An email is fine if that's how they want to. If an email is fine, it's going to hurt anyway. It's going to hurt the agent regardless, because they haven't let you go, which means they still believe in you. They still want to work with you. So it's not going to be a very nice experience. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want any actor to be with me who didn't want to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
So just got to be gracious and be nice and just say, honestly, thank you for everything you've done. I I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling this is right for me. And that's absolutely fine. On the agent's perspective, they're probably like, oh my God, I've got you 30 auditions. You know, you never say thank you, never speak to me, you never, you know, from our side, we get, you know, we see it very differently to the actor's side.
Yeah.
But circle of life, it's just, it's how it has to be.
So another question I have is that collective now has lots of different divisions, you know, and kind of it's all in different areas of, you know, there's TV and voiceover and all that sort of stuff. For somebody who was to write in, kind of how does it all work in terms of representation throughout the agency? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have a main representation inbox that we all can monitor. If two of us, for example, like the same person, we will give that person the opportunity. We'll have our own conversation. Let's say me and John like the same person, which has happened before. We'll have a little chat saying we both want to meet them. We'll offer that person to meet both of us because we're both different agents with different lists. And then that person can choose. It's like another agent, because me and John are very different. So it depends on who you flow with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some clients that Bo, who everyone else has got, Natalie, wouldn't gel with me. Yeah, so that's sort of how it works. But you can write to the agent individually. If there's a specific agent you want to go after, on our website, on our bios, we've got our personal emails on there. So if you want to write to an agent directly, you can do that. On my social media, it says my email is on there. So people can write to me personally. But if they're not really sure who they're writing to and they just want to be with the collective, we all do monitor the rep folder.
But then in terms of, then let's say they were signed with you. And are you like kind of more musical theatre on your strand? But let's say there was like a voiceover thing that came up. They still would be, do you know what I mean? It's still that they would get seen for everything.
So they don't. So when they come to collective, they don't automatically get signed to Damn Good Voices.
Right.
The Damn Good Voices. So we work with them all the time. Any client that comes to us that we think has a really unique voice reel, because Damn Good Voices is like it's an agency. It's its own entity already. So they think they've taken like 6 or 7 of my clients now. So you've got to be unique. You've got literally, I can just send your voice reel off straight over to the managing director. He will look at it and then he will either work with you, sign you. Voiceover is very specific. You've got to have a certain voice type that they already haven't got. So it's basically just a quicker way in to get in front of voiceover agency and making sure your email gets seen. Obviously, we handle all of my client got an ADR the other day that I submitted through them on Spotlight, and then Damn Good Voices are always there to help with like the negotiations of it. Are the fees correct? Because voiceover is slightly different. Is that your question?
Yes, that answered my question. We have another question that's come in. I've bought a mic and preamp and need to produce a voice reel to get a voiceover agent, but not sure if I should create my own content to add to existing work, or do agents prefer a commercially produced reel?
So for voiceovers, I would always say commercially produced reel. You want it to be the best it can be. For example, an older actor who I took on recently, actually, John, he was my grandpa Pops when I did Chitty. I just signed him. He's gone over to Damn Good Voices and he did a show reel, and they gave him what they're so good with is they can hear your voice. If they think you are right for voiceovers, they know instinctively what scripts to give you that's really going to show you off. Mm-hmm. And when John sent me his voice reel, it was just amazing. It was so good. He's got a bit of a Welsh twang to his voice, and he's 72, I believe. So he's got that wise storytelling with a bit of a cheeky Welsh accent. And they gave him the funniest sides to learn. So when you do it yourself, some actors don't really understand what they are, what their thing is. The amount of times I speak to actors and sort of say, "What's your casting type?" and "What are you right for?" They can barely even name me 1 or 2 shows. But then when you speak to an agent, they can really guide you into what you are right for. So with the voiceover work, is Dan Good Voices gave John these scripts that were going to sell him the best, rather than letting the actor choose the pieces, because then it could go a little bit wrong. I would always leave it to the voiceover agency to pick the pieces, because it's so specific.
And I guess it's a bit different than, when you, I guess in theatre, you have a look and you can see what you look like. Whereas with your voice, you can't always tell what is going to be the best pieces for you. Yeah,
I think people make a mistake all the time, and the same mistake with TV and film. So musical theatre trained actors, do they even do voiceover at musical theatre colleges?
No, I never did it.
So it's a specific skill, but I think actors make a mistake of, because they think they can act, they think they can automatically do voiceovers. And it's something just completely different. I mean, I've learned, just being since Collective, working with Simon at Dan Good Voices, I've learned so much. Just how specific it is. And even when we did the Collective launch video, which is still on our Collective feed if anyone wants to watch it, we created this video, and Simon chose, I think it was 8 voiceover voices on his list to record the text for the video. And I was going through them, and I was like, God, no. And then this girl, she just, I don't know, her voice was just amazing. But those 4 people we heard before this girl, their CVs were like ridiculous, but they just weren't, it just didn't fit. And the second we played this girl's voice, I literally got shivers. It was amazing. So it is such a specific skill. So you've really got to invest into it and get it done properly.
Fabulous. I mean, we've got another 5 minutes. So if anyone does have any more questions, please feel free to ask before the stream ends. But yes, kind of any advice you have for kind of anyone really, I guess, just in terms of life in the industry and kind of, I guess, what we were talking about before about do other things that make you happy and make you want to get up in the morning. I think I was nervous about doing this Sleep with Love thing. I was thinking, oh God, well, what are people going to think? They're going to think I'm not focused anymore. They're going to think, but people's thoughts aren't going essentially to pay my mortgage. I know I keep saying it all the time, but it's just so true. And I was so worried about what everyone else was thinking. And I put out this tweet saying, you just got to do you. In the tweet, I said, all rules are suspended. You just got to do what you have to do to get through it. And an agent friend of mine, a big agency, messaged me saying, I just want to say thank you for saying that, because my client saw that and emailed me to say thank you. So I stick by what I've said. You've got to do what you've got to do. One thing I have noticed is I've got a side of not everyone is the same on social media. Not everyone's on social media. But there's been a handful of clients that I keep seeing dancing, and I keep seeing their vocals going up. They're recording new songs. They're doing dance clips all the time and dance classes. Joanna Goodman at one point was doing, dance classes every Friday, I think it was. Every Friday I saw these stream of videos going out. And then some clients, I didn't see a thing. And I was like, God, are they okay? And, just from posting videos online, it has caught the attention from choreographers. Joanna Goodwin might share it. One of my clients, Robbie McMillan, has done amazing through lockdown. His dance videos are amazing. Like, I don't know if you've seen them, but they've been posted. So
I would say, you know, don't be afraid to post anything. I know we're in that funny world of social media, and I'm grateful that I didn't have it at college, but don't be afraid to expose and be proud of what you've been working on during lockdown. If you don't want to do that and that petrifies you, again, there's no rules. So that's okay. Don't do it. But it does help. I think it does help, like, keeping you noticed. So I would do that. Do not worry about what anyone else is thinking of you at the moment. Again, we're also worried what people think of us. Just do what you can do. And stay healthy. Like, I've been I joined CrossFit recently, and I don't know if you know much about the equity variation agreement, the new equity deal.
The new thing that came out.
Yeah, the day that came out was, I mean, it just was awful for me. And I went to the gym and I just felt so much better. And it really does make a difference, just doing some form of exercise. And I've just, you know, I'm not traveling into London every day. I'm not doing nowhere near what I used to do. So it is important just to try and keep moving and try and do some form of exercise. But that's my advice. And watch musical. Disney Plus had Hamilton on. Me and my fiance and my housemate, we watched Hamilton, and we got popcorn out, and like, just try and do fun evening. Like this Saturday, we're gonna watch Hocus Pocus. Just try and do fun things like that, just to keep. I mean, the weeks are flying by, I think, anyway. But I think it's because. Yeah. But I think it's because, you know, you've got this, and you've done your Grad Fest, which has been amazing, and I think everyone needs to find their thing they can just do, just to make the weeks go past. Because the quicker we get through these weeks, the quicker we're going to get back. So that's my advice.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all that and chatting for an hour with us. And I hope everyone who's watched this has felt like they have kind of got questions answered and whatever. But all of the ways of contacting Simon are in the description of the YouTube video, and they're also on the CCI website as well. So if you want
sorry to interrupt. I am happy. Like, if anyone does get a new like vocal reel or a dance reel, anything like that, and they want to send it to me before they write out to agents, send it to me and I'll have a quick look over it and to see what I think. So my email is simon@collectiveagents.co.uk, and I'm more than happy to have a look at any people's new material they've got.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for that. And yeah, all of the contact details are down below in the description for anyone who would like to do that. But thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
And yes, hopefully we'll see you around soon.
Stay strong.
Yes, exactly. Stay strong, and do you.
You do you.
You do you. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you, and I will see you around soon. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on to the stream and watching the wonderful interview. And if you do have any more questions or anything, you can watch it back and see if there's anything that has already been answered in the stream. We will be back at 3:30 for Anatomy for Dancers. So if you would like to come onto that stream, then please do. And you can also view everything that was in the previous month on the YouTube channel. But please make sure you subscribe. And check out the website for anything new that is coming up. But thank you so much, and I will see you shortly.